concept of management, how can it be understood from various perspectives. So there are different school of thoughts try to define management differently. So we can start looking at management as a discipline. Here, they say that management as a discipline refers to a field of study that involves a set of principles, theories, and practice for organizing, directing, and controlling resources. Also, management as a group of people. Here, management as a group refers to the individuals who are responsible for planning, decision-making, and overseeing the execution of operation within an organization. And management as a process is referred to the continuous, systematic way in which organizational activities are coordinated to achieve goals. So now, let's see basic features of management. The first one is goal-oriented. Management is focused on achieving specific objectives and goals, but also another feature of management is universal. Management is universal. Why? Because management principles can be applied across various types of organization and industries in different parts of the world. Also, another feature is a continuous process. Management is an ongoing process that involves regular monitoring and adjustment. But also management, it involves coordinating people and activities in teams and groups. That's a group activity. Another feature is dynamic. Management adapts to changing environment and challenges within and outside the organization. Another one is intangible. Management is a concept and its effectiveness is visible through results rather than physical actions. Another one is multidisciplinary. Why? Because it draws from various fields such as economics, psychology, sociology, and law or anthropology. Yeah. Now let's move to another part, that's functions of management. The first function is planning. Setting objectives and determine the best course of action to achieve them. It involves forecasting, setting goals, and identify resources needed. Another one is organizing, arranging resources and tasks in a structured way to achieve the plan. This involves assigning tasks, establishing authority, and allocating resources. Another one is leading, that's guiding, motivating, and managing the workforce to work towards the organization goal. This includes communication, motivation, and leadership skills. Also controlling, monitoring, and evaluating. Here, on controlling, it uses monitoring and evaluating the performance to ensure that objectives are being met. If deviations are found, corrective measures are taken to keep the organization on track. Let's see functions of management. Management has got different functions in any organization or any institute. Some of them are this one: planning, to set objectives and to determine the best course of action to achieve them. Also organizing, arranging resources and tasks in a structured way to achieve the plan. This involves assigning tasks, establishing authority, and allocating resources. But also leading, guiding, motivating, and managing the workforce to work towards the organization goals. This includes communication, motivation, and leadership skills. Also controlling, monitoring, and evaluating the performance to ensure that objectives are being met. If deviations are found, corrective measures are taken to keep the organization on track. Importance of management. Management is very important. Why we are saying that management is important? Here are some of the importance: achieving organizational goal, efficient use of resources, adaptation to change. Why adaptation to change? Effective management, it enables organization to respond and adapt to changing environment, technologies, and market conditions. Also, if another function of management is to motivate the employee when they do good, when they perform well, they are motivated. Also, innovation and growth is a sole function of management to ensure that there is a innovation within the organization and the organization always grow. Risk management. By planning and controlling operation, management can help organization anticipate and mitigate risk that could hinder success. Now, let's see the difference between administration and management, because some people, they mix them or they use them interchangeably, or they think administration and management is the same thing, though their work might be the same, but they operate at different paradigms. On looking at the difference between administration and the management, we will focus into more than, I think we will focus on the six difference. We will see on their difference on their focus, difference on the level, difference on the nature of work, difference based on decision making, difference based on the role, based on the influence, based on the scope, and based on main focus. Let's start with the focus. Administrations, they formulate the policy, they set goals, and they make decisions. While the management, they execute the policies and they manage day-to-day operations, which have been designed by the administrators on the levels, usually performed by the top level executive or officials. And here in management, it is performed by the middle and the lower level managers. On the nature of work, on administration, it's more conceptual, strategic, and long-term planning. In management, is operational, tactical, and focused on short-term objectives. On decision making, it determines what and why of organizational goals. But here in management, it determines how to implement the plan and policies. Based on the role, it is concerned with overall control and guidance. It is concerned with getting work done by other employees. On the influence, it influences broad organizational direction and the structure. In management, it influences day-to-day function and resource allocation. Scope, larger scope, involving external and internal environment. In management, it's a narrower scope, focused on internal resources and tasking. On main focus of administrators is to formulate policy and overall governance activities. But management, their main focus is execution of those policies and coordination of activities and motivation for employee or the people who they are managing. Now, let's see the similarities between management and administration. Their similarities are this, as I said earlier, that there's a difference between administration and management, but there is a similarities between them because both of them, they operate in the certain paradigm. Like this one, both they are goal oriented. There are certain goals which have been set. So they ensure that those goals are met or they are achieved. But both they involve decision making. Also, both they use the resources, both require the effective use of resources, whether strategic in administration level or operational in management level. Both their interdependence. Administration set the direction and the management ensure its implementation. Leadership both require the leadership qualities to guide employee or other stakeholders toward achieving organizational goals. Also, planning both involve some form of planning. Administration focus on long-term plan, while management focus on executing and adapting short-term plan. Now we are coming to another part where we are going to see management as a science or management is an art. there are different school of thoughts. Some school of thought, they say that management is a science. Another, they say that management is an art. So in this section, we will see both why management is regarded as science and why other school of thought is regarding management as an art, and why we can combine them together or we can compile it when we can say that management is both a science and an art. So let's go. Management can be considered as a science due to the following reason. It is a systematic body of knowledge. Like any science, management has a well-organized body of knowledge based on principles and theories that can be taught and learned. But also these principles and theories, these are universally accepted, such as the principle of planning, organization, leadership that guide managers or administrators.